Welcome to the Prospectors Radio Show, the talk show for our community. Please welcome Rich Cooley, Indiana Gold Hunter Dennis Dayton, Kathleen Biffle, and your host, Tim Grimes.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another edition of Prospector Radio. I'm your host, Tim Grimes, and joining us tonight, we have a good friend of ours stopping back in, Mr. Jeff Williams. What's happening, Jeff?
Yeah, that's me.
What's going on, man? It's been a while.
I know, right? I thought you guys forgot about me.
No.
I wasn't feeling the love.
No, no, we don't ever forget about you, man. Yeah, come on.
Okay.
We knew that you were working on your treasure hunt thing, and we.
Oh yeah, that took us quite a while to set that one up.
Right, and I remember the last time you was on, we said when you get that going, we want to get you back on and talk to you about that and see what's happening with it and the whole 9 yards.
Oh, yeah.
And we've seen that you have begun this hunt, has started, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So when
it's in full swing. They got people all over the mountainside looking for that darn thing.
When did it officially start?
October 2nd, it officially started.
Now, are you going to have a cutoff date on it, or is it just going to run until somebody finds it?
Nope, it's just going to run until somebody finds it.
Nice.
And you want to hear something nice?
Yeah.
Check this out. All right, Slim came up with this idea. He said, you know what, let's do something different this year.
Mm-hmm.
If we continue to get more people involved with it, we'll continue to add that as a bonus to the already existing treasure.
What?
How's that?
That's cool.
So right now the chest is full of silver Morgans.
Mm-hmm.
And so every time we get 5 more people involved, we're going to start adding silver bars to the poke.
Oh,
and we're just going to keep adding it until somebody finds that darn thing. It's kind of like like a lottery or something like that.
Uh-huh.
So people just keep putting it in, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger. And I figured that way, if nobody finds it, it'll get as big as Forrest Finn's treasure. That'll really make it interesting.
Yeah.
So just to spice it up a bit.
Yeah, it already is interesting. I mean, can you tell us the list of what you put in there?
Well, the list is it's three items actually. It's over 200 silver Morgans, and those range from 1873 to I think 1921, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
10 silver bars and 1 gold bar.
Dang. And how big is this chest? What's the dimensions?
So, and it's a Pony Express 1890 Pony Express box. It's the strong box. It's made out of cast metal. It's a big, heavy thing too.
Do you get to keep the box?
Huh?
You get to keep the box too?
Yeah, you get to keep everything.
Oh, cool.
So I was going to say, you got to carry it out.
Yeah.
This
and everyone who orders a map, they get a key that's been specially cut for that lock. So when they find it, they can open it right there on the spot.
Wait, shouldn't they have to shoot the lock off like they did in the old days?
I was going to say, in the old days, we just shoot the lock.
They could, I guess so. Yeah, that would look fitting, huh?
That would.
Break it off with a shovel or something.
Yeah, right. I mean, come on. Just like in the movies, they got to either take a shovel to it or shoot it off.
So, but yeah, it's and we have it set up around the old story of the good and the bad, the ugly, with Tuco and the man with no name. So we have our own cemetery, and they got to go out looking for it. You know, it's up at Sad Hill Cemetery, and then of course you got to look for well, you know how the story goes.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Now,
well,
is it still open?
I can say one thing. I can say one
go ahead,
thing.
Dennis. Mm-hmm.
Whoever finds this treasure, don't keep anything of value in it when you find it, because there's going to be a whole bunch of other people has a key to it.
Oh yeah. But is
I wish I put range cameras there just to see the expression on their face, because I know that they're gonna. It'd be just like Tuco when he found that treasure. He's gonna be looking around, make sure nobody's coming up behind him or something like that.
Yeah,
right.
Because
so we just have to look for cameras. So if we find a camera, we're close.
Is it too late to get in on it, Jeff, or can people still get in on it?
You can sign up anytime you want for the treasure hunt, you got to be a premium patron, though, because that's something we put on every year for our preems to show them how much we appreciate them.
Okay.
And we put this treasure hunt out on them. They can be eligible for a map. They get the map. Each map is hand-drawn. Cool. Everything is on it. The clues to get you to the location, the terrain, geological features, everything you need to know is on that map.
Okay.
And then it comes with a little key, too, because it's got an old 1880 lock on the front. So cool. All they got to do is use that noodle of theirs and figure it out.
Right.
And so what we've done is we've made it progressively more difficult so that the first clues are really easy.
Mm-hmm.
And as you go along, there's 10 verbal clues and then a map.
Okay.
And so you figure out the verbal clues, and everybody and their uncle could, has figured the verbal clues out. That's easy. Just read it, and just go from point A to point B.
Okay.
But then you get up into the wilderness, and then that's where you have to start putting things together. And because the map's got all kinds of crazy stuff on it, you just have to figure out how it all goes together.
Okay. It sounds
And that's
like
probably it's
fun.
probably gonna be really good too, because he really knows his rock, so he could be like,
Yeah.
you got to know some geology to get behind what he's hiding it to.
Exactly. I want people to understand that, and I want them to learn too. That's the other side of this is I want them to learn map reading skills and topo skills and geology skills, things of this nature, because this is important for them if they're going to get into gold mining. So this whole thing has got more than just one facet to it.
Right.
I thought we'd have some fun with it, and then of course I've always loved the good and the bad, the ugly series. So we fashioned all that around that too as well.
A good idea, actually. Yeah.
So.
Now, is there a time limit that you're going to give people, and then before you call it, or is it just going to stay buried until someone finds it?
It's just going to stay buried till somebody finds it.
That's cool.
So, and like I said, we're just going to keep adding to it too. So I figure if nobody can find it within a year, I'm going to release where it's at.
Okay.
And what I'm going to do is I'll give one final clue to everybody who's out looking for it, like a super clue that if you can't understand that, then there's something wrong with you. Right. And then it'll be like a mad dash, like it's a mad, 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 mad world. Right. And they'll be running because I know that they've seen the terrain and they know all the outcroppings and structures and every single tree that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give away one super clue if nobody can find it, because I want them to find it.
Sure.
I want to see the look on their face.
Oh, yeah.
And if they can't find it, I'll give away the super clue. Then I'm sure that they'll know exactly where it's at when I tell them. And that'll be the fun part when everyone goes running out there, because it'll be a mad day. It'll be like the gold rush all over again.
Yeah, it definitely will be.
Well, I look at it this way. Just because I'm a kind of a clue kind of guy, and you already said something about it's buried. So there's a clue
it's buried.
Nice.
There's a clue that nobody.
Oh, you cracked the code, Scott.
Look at that,
Yeah.
Swifty.
Oh.
Scott, you should be out there
The code
looking
breaker
for it.
has spoken.
I mean, Scott is close enough. You know.
I heard
it's
Slim
buried.
was selling a secret map on the side.
Yeah. Secret map. I got this from a guy at a bar the other night. It'll lead you right to it, and a wrong direction too while you're at it.
I think it's cool though. How big? Tell me, how big's the bar of gold? How big is that, Jeff?
Well, it's big enough to put in your hand and weigh it down.
Oh, nice. Nice.
So
that is cool though.
I'm sure they'll be happy with that. And like I said, it's if you find it, you could probably retire.
Oh, dang.
So.
Like
I said, I want to see. We had so much fun with the last treasure hunt that we just had to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Except this time we wanted to up the ante
and
make it even more valuable and even more interesting to find.
Sure.
Now, how fast did somebody find the last treasure hunt?
We had one guy. He found it within a month, but he was hardcore dedicated. Yeah, he was. It was. So he actually had two guys that were up there looking for it, and they were both hardcore. And one guy was living in his truck up on the area where they thought it was, and the other guy lived in Washington, and so he had to fly down all the time because the treasure was buried up around Mount Wilson, and so he had to fly into Vegas and then drive up all the way up past Pioche and then up to Mount Wilson. and he would be up there on every weekend, and then he would fly back, and he did that for 4 weekends.
I'll be
So
darned.
Wow.
He was devoted. Yep, that's devotion.
Is there an age limit you have to be, like, or not a limit, but a minimum?
No, we had. There is no minimum. We had kids looking for it on the last one. The whole families came out, and they brought their kids with them. It was a family event,
Mm-hmm.
and because it's not so difficult that it has to be limited to you have to be physically fit or anything like that. No, you just have to use your noodle,
Right.
and you can bring the whole family out there if you want.
That's just
And
so cool.
like I said, the last treasure hunt. It was funny because all they had to do was put the last clue together. They would have figured it out. Josh finally figured it out, and it's funny because they had walked past the treasure because it was right next to the road. It created a loop on the map. They just didn't figure it out.
Uh-huh.
So they were practically walking over it the whole time.
Oh, my God.
So,
You're sneaky.
if you watch the video, even Josh, because I tell people, if you find it or you think you're getting close, film it. I want to see this. And so he
Right.
filmed it when he found it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you could see that somebody, it was in a little area of a wash right next to the road. And somebody went to the bathroom right next to it, didn't even know the treasure was there. I'm not kidding. You could see the toilet paper and everything. I was like, holy. And he even made mention of it. So it was funny because he'd combed that whole mountainside. And I'm like, just need to put it together and you'll see. And then there's even clues on the map where it gives a very specific location. If you know how to use certain map reading skills, it gives you the exact coordinates.
Uh-huh.
So I told him, I said, everything is right there. He was pulling his hair out too. And he has a lot of hair too.
You gotta think about this, Jeff. You walk up there, you're like, oh, the treasure's right, and then you see a pile of crap with toilet paper. You're like, no, I'm not digging there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I know, right? What a great diversion.
Or did somebody put it there to divert someone?
No,
Right.
it was
Yeah, they
actually
just forgot
somebody
their shovel.
had to actually go to the bathroom, and so they just hopped down in that wash to get out of the view of the road. And I thought, how ironic, it was within 10 feet of where you were doing your business.
Wow. That's craziness right there, dude.
Some of these guys were climbing up the top of Mount Wilson and all over the place, combing miles and miles of terrain. And I'm like, no, it's not that. If you put it together, it was right there, practically where you were parking your car.
Wow.
Now, did you make that
Sneaky.
kind of a Jeff? Did you make that kind of a stipulation? Like, if you think you're close, you're going to find it, film it.
Yeah, I asked everybody, take pictures along the way.
Okay.
If you think you're getting close, use a GoPro or whatever it is you got, your phone, and film it because I want to see the reaction on people's faces. So they've been sending in tons and tons of pictures, but then just finding like beer cans and stuff like that. So I'm like, well,
Okay.
that ain't it. That's Slim's beer can.
You're sneaky, Jeff. Yeah.
Nah, not me, Slim. I'm just some crazy man running around the desert.
I really think it's cool that you can do that stuff, and like you said, you get the families out there. It gets kids thinking and using their mind, like you said. You got to use your noodle.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I mean, for families and stuff like that to go out, that's pretty cool that you could throw that out there, and like, man, there's all kinds of families that'll go do that. So that's pretty cool. I like that.
No, I like that.
Yeah.
We had Damien. He was out there with his family from Utah because it's right next to the border.
Mhm.
And they were out there for a couple days looking, and they kept trying to squeeze some clues out of me, and I thought it was cool because they were practically right there, and I was chomping at the bit not to look in the wrong direction or something like that because I know they were watching me. What's he gonna look at? Just follow his eyes.
Yeah.
So they had the family out there for a couple of days, the wife and the kids and everything, and they made a weekend of it, and they loved it, and I thought that was fantastic. They said that was one of the greatest moments they had in their life was just spending quality time together
Sure.
as a family out in the wilderness and enjoying time together. That right there is the real
Exactly.
treasure.
Right. And what's cool is this is actually a treasure people can find. It's not like this Forrest Finn thing that nobody's finding and dying finding it. Yours is something you can find. You're giving them clues that make sense, and this is findable. people.
Exactly.
This is cool.
And like you said earlier, if they don't find it, I'm going to give them a super clue, which I know they'll know once because they've been combing the area with their detectors.
Right.
So I know they know the topography of the land. So
Right.
all I have to do is say the one last clue, and boom, they're going to be all over it.
They'll
And I'm
be
curious who can run up there fastest.
That's just rotten, though.
Because I want them to find it. It's like, come on.
Oh yeah, you do,
So-
guys, because you put a lot of effort in it, and it's cool.
But the metal detectors don't work. They won't find it, right?
Well, if there's too much metal in the area, they won't work. So that's always a drawback. That's another clue.
That is sweet, though. It's just the coolest thing ever. It's awesome that you're doing this for your patrons and stuff, and it's just cool. And
oh well, thanks. Yeah, I always like doing treasure hunts, and I thought, let's each year we're going to try to make them a little bit bigger and a little bit better, and maybe different locations around the country.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Maybe we might do one where we have 4 or 5 treasures at one time.
Wow.
And different areas of the country. That way everybody can participate, because not everybody can go to the West Coast.
Right.
So we were thinking about planting them north, south, east, and west.
That'd be it.
And maybe
Cool.
one right in the middle. That would be 5. Yeah, that's 5.
That would be.
So-
Now that would be something really cool. Because it would.
Yeah, I know, right? So we're already in the planning stages for next year.
Good idea, Jeff. Yep, I like that. Because,
Now-
Scott's the only one close enough that he could come and participate in this one.
Right.
And he should be. He should be out there looking.
Yeah, it's not far from a major town. I mean, walking distance.
Dang, I'm telling you, if it was, that's just cool. I wish it was around.
You know what,
here.
Jeff? I got a question for you. I was always curious about this because I mean, you do a lot of stuff. I mean, you did gold tours and stuff like that. I've seen your videos. Everybody watches them. That's typical. But do you do things like on the sidelines, like for your community? Do you get out there and try to educate people on geology and gold mining and stuff, like in your community with kids groups, anything? Do you do anything like that on the sidelines?
Well, I don't know if you remember, but back in the day, there was a gold mining club here called Desert Outfitters, and every month we would host a what was called a meet and greet back in the day. And what we do is just tell people just to show up. It doesn't cost nothing. We'd set up lunch and tents and canopies out front, and they could show up with the kids. And what I would do is I would try to give them instructionals about gold panning, the basics, and I'd have water tanks set up and teach the kids how to gold pan and get them involved. And of course, any gold they find they can have, and teach them about the different types of equipment, answer questions, just stuff like that. And that's what we used to do every month. And of course, then it shut down, and we're trying to find a new place to host them. The gold lady, she's in Kingman, but gosh darn it, that's too far away. Right. So, and she's getting ready to move her store too. So I don't know if you know that, but so what we're gonna do is letting the cat out of the bag. She's gonna move her store closer to the freeway because of the traffic, obviously.
Right.
So what we're gonna do is in November she's gonna have a grand opening, and I'm gonna invite everybody there, and we're gonna do like another meet and greet, and I'm gonna do what I can to have pay dirt for the kids and teach them how to gold pan and have snacks and everything, and just make it a fantastic day. So
cool.
Who knows, maybe we'll start driving out there every month so we can continue doing that, because I really like to see the kids getting involved, because to be honest, that's the next wave, that's the next generation right there, and if they lose interest in this, then it's going to die with us.
Right.
And
that'll
be the end
you
of
got it.
Yep, this is true. Now,
That's one of the reasons why I got into the business. When I started doing videos, it's just because I want to be able to, like you are, I want to teach people how to do stuff and get them out there. That's cool.
Yeah, get them off that darn phone and get them out in the wilderness and teach them. Well, yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with a phone, but gosh darn it, everybody and their uncle is starting to develop this right angle, crick in their neck from looking down at their phone all the time.
yeah.
So I want to get them out there and teach them some real world skills, things
Right.
that they can, maybe use later on in life, or at least anything, they can appreciate nature and be outside and not be, inside on a phone all day. I mean, that's craziness right there.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially when there's so much out there,
Yeah, and they just don't know about it. That's the thing.
Right.
You know, all they know is, you know, social media, and then, you know, you give them something different. They, you know, just like when we were kids. Okay, you know, take me out on a field trip. You know, show me what outside has to offer versus social media. I'll be more than happy. And so I've seen kids, they get excited and they're like, they get the fever. I know the look. Trust me, I know that look. And they get the fever and they get all gung ho and they want to learn everything. And so I pay special attention to those kids that get the fever. And I say, okay, well, I'm gonna you know, give you what the resources you need so you can get out there. And if you got questions, you know, here's my email. And I want you to pick up the torch, and I want you to carry on because, you know, Slim, he's past his prime, and me, I only got another, something years left. I ain't going to put a number because you never say that out loud.
Yeah, nope.
So that's our main goal and mission right there is just to get it out there because there's so much craziness out there that, you know, that's not true and not right, and I want them to understand what it is and how you do it. You know, and you know, some people don't know how to file a claim. I teach them how to do that. You know, whatever it takes. How to process placer overload. You know, how do you actually cash in your gold? How do you actually turn a profit on this kind of thing? Just all the little things that you don't really hear about. You just hear about people finding gold and they jumping up and down. That's great, but then what do you do with it? You know, So I want to show them. Okay, this is how you do it, and this is, you know, what you can do to sustain yourself with it. So,
you know what, I not to cut you off, Tip, but I actually thought your video, like when you were doing how to file a claim, I thought that was really good. And there's a lot of people that's like, man, why don't you do that video? I'm like, man, do you know the process it would be to get a camera in to do a claim like that? And I thought it was pretty cool that you were actually able to do it. So that was great.
Oh, well, thank you so much. You know, it's funny you mentioned that. We're going to make another video. We're going to try to streamline it because I had some people write in, and it was a little complicated for some, and I understand if you're not familiar with the terminology and the mining world. But so what we're going to do is break it into two videos, one for placer and one for hard rock. And we're going to keep it we're not going to go into the commercial aspect of it because not many people do that, so they don't have to worry about a notice of intent and a plan of operation. We're just going to keep it, you know, hands and pans basically, and recreational as they call it, and that way it's easy to file a claim, and then they can get in there and they know exactly what the rules are, and then of course give them the links so they can say, okay, for my state I need to know exactly what I can and can't do based on regulations. So we want to make another video because some people were confused and actually in the field doing it on a real claim, so it's as real as it's going to get.
Yeah.
So I figured that would really help out. So because a lot of people want to file claims, they just don't know how to do it.
Now in Nevada, it's like Arizona, right? Like where you stake your claim, when you stake it, it's 20 acres around that stake. Is it the same where you're at?
Well, now you got to remember you got lode and placer. One's 20 acre flat, and one's 20.66. So when you're filing a placer, it's going to be the shape of a rectangle, and when you got load, you're going to have the same rectangle, but the dimensions are going to be slightly different, and you have to keep that in mind. So, like if you have, I don't know, if you've got a load, you're going to have 15 by 600. So that's going to be different than if you're going to have a placer. The dimensions are going to be just slightly off as far as the width and the length. And of course, on a load, you're going to put your monument, your location marker, on top of the vein that you found or the outcropping or whatever it is. And in a placer, you can put it on any corner. We usually put it on the northeast corner of our claim, the actual monument that has.
Yes. So on your placer claims, you go by the corner, not by the middle. You don't go by where you found your strike. Okay.
Exactly. So we'll put it on the northeast. I like the northeast. BLM likes the northeast, so we put it in the northeast section. And then on our loads, we put it where we discovered the actual outcropping of ore. So that's the two differences right there. And like I said, there's a lot of things that we learned along the way from BLM because we've worked with them personally. So I like to get another video out there and explain to, and actually walk through the process and do it so people, because a lot of people, they can understand it more when you're actually doing it instead of just talking about it. So that's what we're going to do.
More visual.
Exactly. And so, and it's really not that complicated. You know, and the hardest part about the whole thing, to be honest with you, is drawing that darn map. So, I kid you not. You know, Arizona's easy, but you get a Nevada map, and it's this big old honking, piece of paper, it's blank, and you got to fill everything in. And I'm like, what the heck, Arizona, man? It's already got the quarter sections drawn for you. Just jot it in there and put your corner, common corner in there, and you're done.
You.
Scott.
Yeah, they tell you here. Oh,
you're breaking.
Oh, here it is.
You're breaking
right.
up.
We already.
Scott.
And there it is.
And there it is. Yeah, he broke up.
Yeah.
There he is. Now, Jeff, what was that you were chasing across the road the other day in a picture I seen on Facebook? Yeah, we hear you, Scott. Now we do.
Oh, you mean the last little video we put up?
Yeah, what was that you were chasing across the road? Didn't you learn, man, messing with them turtles?
Now, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Listen to me. Now that wasn't a protected species. That was just a tarantula. It wasn't a desert tortoise, and it wasn't a national preserve. So trust me, I checked my my area before I even made that video.
Did you Google it real quick?
Huh?
Did you Google it real quick and make sure you were
Yeah, I did Google it just to make sure, because I don't want to have BLM knocking on my door again.
I was like, yep, he's at it again.
I just can't help myself. I see this little guy running across the road and these big old trucks with their boats going by. I'm thinking, they're going to make pancakes out of him.
You're like, I'm going to
Yeah, we heard about the big turtle spade.
Yeah. We'll never
So
forget
that was a saved video, so I posted that one.
All right, I was just curious about that.
Yeah, I know. So was everyone else.
I thought it was funny when you said that story. Like, oh yeah, no, like, oh yeah, you're not supposed to really do that. And, what's funny is because I actually got a picture that was a long time ago of a Gila monster here in Arizona, and I was getting out of the road because it was right in the road. I'm like, dude, I don't want you to get ran over. So I picked it up and somebody took a picture, and I got people coming. They were coming unglued. You're not supposed to touch him. I'm like, you want me to touch it or get it run over? You gotta come on. It was crazy.
It just makes sense. Yeah, get it out of the road.
Yeah. Well, I learned a long time ago, after the tortoise, be careful what you post because there's more people watching than you know.
Yep.
And everybody's got an opinion, like everything else.
Yeah, that for sure, brother. Let's do this real quick. Let's do a quick commercial, and then we'll open up the phone lines. How's that sound?
Oh, okay. That sounds like fun.
All right, let's do it. We'll be right back, everybody, with Jeff Williams and Slim and the whole crew. We'll be right back.
Oh.
Do you like to mine for gold? Enjoy prospecting a nice crack in the bedrock? Enjoy getting outdoors to camp, fish, hunt, and hike on your public lands? You plan your trip, load the gear, grab the dog, put the family in the truck, and drive off to a locked gate. A sign says you cannot enter or access your own public lands. Mining claims and public land owned by we the people are being designated as off limits by our own government every single day. Are you concerned about the direction our government is going? Are you tired of seeing no access, no entry signs on your lands? We are, and we are fighting back. We are AMRA, America Mining Rights Association, the fastest growing small mining advocacy association in America. AMRA is a 501c3 not-for-profit formed by miners, hunters, off-roaders, retired military men and women to stop the insanity. AMRA was formed to educate, unite, and help the small miners and public land users on their rights. Rights given to us by God. Do you want access to great mining claims? For a small tax-deductible donation to their miners' legal fund, your family gains access to proven excellent mining claims across America for an entire year. AMRA challenges the USFS, BLM, EPA, and the other agencies intent upon stopping you from enjoying your own lands. You are who pays these people people's wages. It is time they listen to us. We need to unite. And that is what AMRA is doing. As you sit here right now, thousands of acres of public lands are being closed, locked, and blocked from use by you. Are you fed up yet? Join us. Get in on this fight and let's restore America to what our families fought and died for. Freedom. Just visit AmericanMiningRights.com. AmericanMiningRights.com. Also, check us out on Facebook at American Mining Rights Association. AmericanMiningRights.com.
In 1858, gold was discovered in the rivers of New Caledonia. This discovery would spark a massive gold rush. Today, the search for gold is much easier, yet still challenging with Dirt Hog Pay Dirt. At Dirt Hog, we pride ourselves on our gold and guaranteed gold amounts. Just visit DirtHogPayDirt.com today and buy yourself a bag of the best pay dirt concentrates on the market. Order with confidence in Canada and North America. DirtHogPayDirt.com. The best gold concentrates on the market, period. Also, be sure to check out our Honest Bonus program.
You're listening to Prospectors Radio on the Gold Prospectors Space Network. Phone lines are open. Have a question? Give us a call. 419-520-7574.
All right, we're back, everybody, with Jeff Williams and Slim. So, where we was talking about you chasing tarantulas and the treasure. Now, also, did I see something about you and Slim got some pay dirt now? What's going on? Or is that something I dreamed?
I think you dreamed it. I mean, we give away, you know that. We give pay dirt away every month, but we're working on trying to get it available to everybody. The mine that we're trying to get it from, well, it's locked up in litigation right now.
Okay.
We want it really bad, and the other party doesn't want to give it up, and because we know what's in it, and I think they know what's in it too. But once we get that taken care of, then you'll have pay dirt for everybody.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So, but the primary mine, which is Slim Pickens #1, that's for my premiums, and I promised that to them since day one. They get every speck of gold that comes out of that bunker.
All right, Jeff. Here's a caller for you.
What's the biggest nugget, Jeff, that they found in one of your mines?
Close to a 1 ouncer. I think Dennis got one of them that was a big munker. And
yes, I did.
But I think it's close to a 1 ouncer, and we're coming up underneath another pocket. That's why we got the drift coming down and around, headed to the other direction. Everybody's asking why we're going that way. It's because we're trying to come up underneath the river from up in front of it.
Okay. All right.
So,
oh wow,
Jeff, we got a caller.
Yeah, I know, a lot of work.
We got a caller for you. All right, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
we got the drift coming down and around.
Yeah, maybe they're not there. We got another one. All right.
Oh, okay.
All right. You there, caller?
Yes.
Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from? Sorry.
Yeah, Larry Englehart from Menifee, California.
Larry! How the heck are you?
Good to hear your voice.
Are you sure it's me? It could be my clone baby.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you've been doing pretty good lately.
You know, speaking of treasure hunts, Larry, I got to get this out there because Larry's a great guy. Mm-hmm. I love him to death. But he's got a treasure hunt he's putting on right now too, where they've got, and it's free. You just all you got to do is sign up and go out there with your metal detector, and they got coins everywhere scattered about. You just got to get out there and find them. Ain't that right, Larry?
Yeah. Just go to Larry Englehart Facebook, and it tells you it's going to be November 9th, or Larry Englehart YouTube. There's a little video up there. Yeah, it's free, and we're going to have probably over 1,000 coins, a whole bunch of bucket list coins, so it'll be a lot of fun.
That'll be a blast.
Yeah. I thought that was fantastic when I saw that. I was like, go, Larry, you go get him, boy.
Have you received any new claims, got any new claims in the last year or so? Picked up any new ones?
Actually, we're working on them right now. So it's just it's been tricky because gold prices have spiked. And when that happened, a lot of mining companies jumped in, and they just blanket claimed a lot of stuff, which made it difficult for us.
Okay.
So don't you worry, we're going to have something special for you at the start of the year.
Just all over.
Do what? Say that again? You were breaking up.
Are you trying to get them like in Nevada, Arizona, those areas mostly?
Actually, we're shooting for California this time.
Oh, that'll be great. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, because we've got plenty in
California
and Arizona, so we figured California's next on the list. It's just the legislation there's a little cuckoo, and
putting it lightly.
well, you know, it's nothing nobody don't know,
Right.
and so we're trying to get some.
That's why I was
really,
sitting here. I was thinking California.
Yeah. There's one I got my eye on, and it's hopefully we get it. Knock on wood. And when you see it, you're going to be drooling. I guarantee you, because when I saw it, but it's under somebody else's ownership, so we're negotiating with the owner, but we just have to come up with something that we both can agree on.
Mm-hmm.
So,
will it be southern
it's
or
really
northern?
something special there. You're going to love it. I guarantee it. And I don't think you're claustrophobic, right?
What's that? Okay, well, I'll let you go so other people can call. But yeah, thanks for putting a little plug for my thing. Those that come out there.
Of course, you're the best, Larry. I love it. You're always coming out on our little 3-day excursions. Anything I can do to help.
Pretty cool.
Well, just come out with Slim. I'll put him to work.
Yeah. We'll try to. I'll get my planner to schedule it in. See if we can make a day out of it, because that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'll take you to. I know you like to eat. I know a really great Mexican restaurant we could go to. I've got you going.
Now who's spreading those vicious lies?
Okay, I'll let you go. Maybe
Larry,
we'll see you in November.
Thanks, Larry.
All right, Larry. You take
Bye.
care now.
Take care, buddy.
You too.
I love that guy. He's so cool.
He always seems to get the call in first. He's quick on the buttons, boy, I'm telling you. Every time you're on. It's like
I got to do something special for him. I got to figure something out.
There you go. Yeah, that sounds like an interesting hunt he's got going on. Where's that going to be at, Jeff?
Honestly, I just saw it on Facebook real quick. It looks like it's out in somewhere around Randsburg or somewhere like that. Barstow. The type of terrain looked like that.
Okay.
And I didn't read the exact location. If I did, I don't remember. It must be, Alzheimer's setting in or something like that. But I don't rightly recall. But it's on Facebook. I can tell you that much.
Larry,
I've been to Barstow a couple times.
They're cool guardy.
All right.
Yeah, they got the AMRA. There's like an AMRA outing. It goes to Barstow like every year. So I've been there I think twice. It's pretty cool.
All right. Here's another caller for you. All right, caller, which name were you calling from?
Hey, this is Neil McElravy.
Hey, Neil, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm calling from Deming, Washington. It's just north of Seattle.
Okay, got a question for Jeff?
Oh, very nice.
Yes, Mr. Jeff. I would like to know if you are going to be purchasing a claim, and let's say the assay is like a 1 ounce per ton. Does that include the overburden or the waste rock, or does that that's just the vein or the pay dirt underneath?
Good question.
No, actually, that's a really good question, because a lot of people, when they do their assays, they mix in the country rock with the actual vein structure, and it'll distort the values. So they get, they'll either get too excited or underexcited. But when I say 1 ounce per ton, I'm talking about just the vein structure alone. I'm not talking about mixing overburden in with that. And this is going to be small scale, and it has to be free mill, or else it's not worth it. And anything below 1 ounce per ton, you're just wasting your time unless you like digging. So, yeah, it has to be 1 ounce. It has to be in the vein material only.
I was always curious. Thank you so much for answering my question, Jeff, and I'm a big fan of yours. I appreciate your time. And your
always. Is that all you had for me? I mean, I'm
awesome.
I can answer anything you like.
That's what I'm going to
Except for that, where the location of the drift mine's at.
I sure appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. You have a great evening.
All right, Neil.
All right. Bye, buddy.
All right, bye-bye.
I'll tell you, that was a great question, because I've had people ask that too. I'm like, you know what? It's got to be, when you have it assayed, it's the ore that you want assayed, not what's around it. So.
All right. Wait,
we can go back and listen to it after we're done.
Okay.
and if you're doing hard rock, you got to keep in mind that it's very important to know how to drill and blast properly, because that's going to help keep your gang material, and which has your ore in it, away from the country rock. So it's important to know your patterns and the type of powder and the amount that you're using and all that stuff. And I always tell people, it's not just about drilling a bunch of holes and blasting. You really have to be an artist at it.
Right.
So,
you know what, Jeff? I got a question. This is something I always wanted to know.
Oh, God.
When you're in a mine, because you're a hard rock miner, during the summer, like you said.
Yep.
How do you know when to turn left and when to turn right? I mean, does the veins really show you which way to go, or is it just kind of you got to kind of open up a little bit and find out? I always wondered about that.
Well, it depends on the structure. I mean, it's just not a one-answer-cover-all scenario. If you've got a very defined vein structure and it's got a very defined dip and strike to it, it's going to be a no-brainer, especially if the vein material is in contrast to the country rock. So if you got like black slate and you've got quartz running in between, that's a no-brainer. But what happens when you've got stockworks running through there, or you got veinlets running through there, or you've got junction faults coming in? That's a whole different animal right there. So you're going to have to, in those scenarios, every time you fire around, blow a round out, you're going to actually have to go in there, bar down, and then inspect to see what is happening with the structure. So every situation is different. Most of the mines I've been in, the vein structure was so obvious it was a no-brainer, unless it started to split because of fracture faulting, or if you have intersection faulting, things of this nature. Then it gets a little tricky, because then you have to make a decision if you're going to follow it. And then, of course, you got parallel veins you got to consider, so you got to do cross cuts to check for them. So the list goes on and on. So I don't know if that answered it or
Scott.
made it more confusing.
Okay, we got another caller.
Have you
for
ever seen a vein go straight down or straight up?
Scott?
Oh, vertical vein, yeah.
We got callers backing up for Jeff.
Oh, sorry.
No,
yeah.
that's all right. Scott wants to keep asking you questions. All right, caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Gary Bass.
What's that? Oh, it's Gary.
Yes, how are you?
I'm good. How are you tonight?
Gary! What are you doing,
yeah,
Gary?
How are you, man?
Come
how
again?
Are you doing?
You're breaking up a little bit.
Okay, how about now?
Yeah, that's better. What's going on?
Okay.
How you doing?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. I have a question regarding testing and sampling and whatnot out at Gold Basin.
Oh, okay. Shoot.
I know you've done some extensive testing out there and sampling. How would you suggest going about it? I've got 60 acres I need to do some testing on.
Well, I think we covered this once before. There's two timelines out there. You want to get to the older timeline, which is where the auriferous gravels are at. You're going to sample systematically across the bottoms of the arroyos, and then you're also going to look for outcroppings. I know where your claim's at, so you've got some small hills in the area. So you would have to actually use metal detectors on the sides of the hill and then sample down below. I'd go clean across perpendicular, and I would go every 20, maybe 30 feet, and then sample again, and I'd be using augers to do that.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. That's my project this season.
Now, you be careful, out there, because it gets a little crazy and cold out there at night, especially in the wintertime.
That's all right. That's why they have motels.
This is true.
Yeah, it's true, too. I forgot about that.
Anything else?
All right, I'll let you go.
All right.
One more question. Are you going to be doing taking any donations for that meet and greet?
Usually the meet and greets, no, we don't take donations. I mean, if you want to give a donation, that's great, but we weren't planning on it. It was just something I wanted to get everybody together and just make a day of it and have some fun and let everybody know that, the Gold Lady, Retta, she's got a new store now, and, so they're aware of that. She's the only one I know of in the whole area that has a brick and mortar store to sell gold mining stuff anymore. So
right.
That's why I'm trying to get everybody to know who she is, because she's got everything, and she's really smart, too.
Nice.
Yeah, she's got chemicals, too.
She's what?
She has chemicals, too.
Tentacles?
Chemicals.
Oh, chemicals. Yeah, she's got a lot of fluxes. She's got it all. I love that, and you don't see that anymore. She also carries mercury, too.
Oh, dang. Sounds like a good store.
Cool. Yeah.
Definitely.
All right, well, I'm going to let you go. It's good talking to you, my friend.
All right, Larry. Or Larry. Why do I got Larry on the brain? Gary. See what you did to me? You messed me up with your Jedi mind trick.
There you go.
Gary, thanks for calling, buddy.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Later.
All right, got more callers for you, Jeff.
Okay.
All right, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, it's Vicki Price
Hi,
from
Vicki.
Maine.
How are you?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
That's what I want to hear.
This is the season now. You go down
Do
the
what?
line really deep, and I'm just wondering, A, if you've ever heard any Tommy knockers while you're down there, and B, who's pulling Slim's strings? I've been dying ever since he just sat there doing nothing. Now all of a sudden he talks and his mouth is moving. Who's pulling his strings?
Well, okay, let's answer these in the format that they were asked. So, the first question is, do I ever hear any Tommy knockers? And the question is, yes, they are real, and they have played a number of jokes on me to the point where I'm not making this up just for fun, where I've actually had to do something to appease them because they were I kid you not, they were doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Every time I tried to do something, they wrapped my power cords up, or my tools would break down, or my bulbs would burn out. And so what I started doing is I would bring them a little gift, like a piece of bread or something like that, anything, just to show my appreciation, and then it stopped. So yeah, they are real, and anybody who argues with me, I'll be more than happy to take them down and let them experience it for themselves. So that's question number one. Question number two, who's pulling Slim's strings? Well, that's like asking who's pulling my strings. He basically does his own talking. He's his own man. And he's more alive than most people I see walking down the street. So I tell you what, it'll spook you too. So if you ever get a chance to meet him face to face, keep an eye on him. Just see what happens when nobody's around.
I think it's Dakota. I think it's Dakota Jack. That's who I think is pulling the string.
Oh, you mean Nevada Jack?
Nevada Jack, okay.
No, it ain't Nevada Jack. I can tell you that because Nevada Jack's very rarely around anymore. He's done retired, and I don't know. He's in parts unknown right now. So, no, Slim is his own man. He helps me with a lot of projects. One day, you know what? One day we're going to sit down, and I'm going to show everybody that he does everything on his own. I'm going to put him out in the middle of the dry lake bed, and he's going to stand up. He's going to talk. He's going to do all kinds of stuff just to show you people he really is who he is.
All right, looking forward to that.
Okay, I look forward to that. You get those Tommy knockers to animate him there.
Yeah, no, I'm not messing with the Tommy knockers. I tell you what, they're fun, but man, you make them mad, and you're not getting a lick of work done the entire day, guaranteed. So
Ever thought of bringing
I ain't
some
messing with
sage
them.
down there?
It's what?
Ever thought of bringing some sage down there?
Yeah, I thought about that too. I mean, trust me, I know all about that, and from the Paiutes, and I don't know if that's going to make them mad or not. So I don't want to make them mad because I've seen what they do when they get mad, and I don't like it. So I just kind of ask, what do you guys want? You want gold, silver? You want some bread? What do you want? Just tell me what it is, and I'll leave it. So, but if you were down there and you experienced it, you'd know what I'm saying. Up on the surface, of course, it sounds like tomfoolery and a bunch of joking, but it's real. And I tell you what, I don't ever want to make them mad.
No, sir.
Now, Vicki?
I believe it.
Vicki, hopefully that answered your
thank
question.
you for talking to me.
Oh, you bet. I'm glad you called in, too. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Vicki.
Okay. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Got more for you, Jeff. All right, caller.
Wouldn't it be funny if it was Slim? Hey, chum.
Yeah. All right, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Brian Bedard. I'm calling from
Brian Bedard. How the heck
are you? Pretty good. I got a question for. Usually, I mean, we deal with in Iowa. There's been a lot of glaciers that came through, and the last one was like 13,000 years ago. But everybody says you dig down to the clay and then kind of scrape the top of the clay off. I was wondering if there's like a general rule of thumb, like how I always see when I keep checking, it says clay is from decomposing bedrock. Is there like a general rule on how old a clay layer is or how long it takes to form clay? So like if I get down to there, I know I'm sitting at 10,000 years. I got another 4,000 years worth of material underneath me.
Well, there's really no set rule of thumb that says just do this. Usually when you get down to decomposing bedrock, it's usually granite because that makes up the majority of our basement rock in the continent. When you start getting down to that and the clays, you know that sometimes there's going to be multiple deposition lines, and you're going to need to sample and try to dig past that and see if there's another one. It's not always going to be on the top one. Your model of deposition during the Great Glacial Push might have had a lot of gold that was coming down from the greenstone belts, the Archeans up in Canada, and it did it in the first swipe, and then the next one would probably be less or maybe more. There's really no general one rule fits all. So you have to sample the top of the clay layers, dig down, see if you can dig down past it, and see if there's another gravel zone on top of another clay zone beneath that. Because I've seen multiple clay zones before, so some people get frustrated, they can't find any gold. I'm like, well, did you try to go past it? And they're like, no, I never thought about that. I'm like, yeah, there could be another one below it.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was like once you hit clay, the rule is like it's 10,000 years old or 1,000 years old or something.
Well, if you want to know when the last glaciers were, I mean, they pretty much could tell you that as far as timelines. But as far as decomposing bedrock, it can be anywhere from 10 to 100,000 years old. So there's a lot of factors involved that create decomposition.
I got a question right now. You've got if clay like just a lot of sediment.
Could you run that again because you were breaking up?
Yeah,
I only got the last part of sediment.
We didn't hear nothing, Scott.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is clay like just a lot of sediment building up, or no?
Well, clays can be made of a lot of different things. Clay is a general term. So clays can be like laterites, which is decomposing bedrock, or clays can be a buildup of sediments. So, like I said, it's just a general term. Like limonite is a general term for iron oxide ore or any type of pyrites that have oxidized out their sulfur. So it's a general, I would hate to say just clay covers it all, but it's a general term.
All right.
Okay.
I don't know if that answers the question, but...
Can I ask one other little quick question?
Sure.
Hopefully quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was listening to the AM radio like 2 months ago on the way to work, and they were talking about the Pierce Heads meteor shower. And they were saying that if you go out and run a magnet through your bird bath, like 70% of the black sands that you can get out of your bird bath is from like meteor dust and debris coming off that. The only thing that piqued me was when they said black sands on the radio. But I didn't know if that is like would that be like a good percentage of like black sands if you can get that much out of your bird bath? It was an astrologist that was talking about it. I didn't know if that would be like a good percentage of where black sands come from, and would it be like all like more meteor dust than just like heavy iron?
No, most of your black sands
post-rock
are hematites and magnetites, and they're part of the building process during the orogenic formation of most mountains and structures. You have a lot of iron that is traveling up in the hydrothermal fluids in solution with gold and other minerals like nickel and tungsten and a whole host of other things, copper. And so when it does drop out of solution and starts to form, there's a lot of irons in place depending on the type of deposit. You got 12 different types of deposits, and you'll see like on your I'm going to say when you have intrusion-related deposits, you have skarn buildup on the outer edges where it comes in contact with your carbonate-hosted rocks, and you're going to have those skarns are going to have tremendous amounts of iron in them, just as the way that they're formed. So, to answer your question, no, most of your irons that you find here on Earth terrestrially are not from extraterrestrial meteorites or fragmentation of that. So that's just a small percentage, if anything.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling.
Yep. Goodbye.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.
All right, good night.
All right. You got a break for a minute now. So, Scott, you could go ahead now, Scott.
Are you really? Come on, guy. Like I said, I just, you know what? I've got questions because I know Jeff is really, he knows the rocks. He's doing this stuff. He's actually out there doing this. It's a guy that I would look forward to, listening to, because I know he knows his stuff.
Well,
and when he says it, take it.
Yes, definitely.
It is what it is.
Right. I like you.
But like I said, I always, I just always had questions like the veins. If you ever come to a vein like it went straight down or straight freaking up, or just like you're like, oh, I didn't think it was going to go there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the things I like to know, because I don't mind underground. You guys.
Yeah, you're going to see vertical vein structures, and if you understand your mesothermal deposits, your deposition models, you'll understand why they were, because originally they were at anywhere from 45 to 60 degree angles. That's usually normal deposition lines, and then the faulting and the tectonic compression from the two different plates is pushing them up on their edge, so they're vertical now. So, and then there's another thing that people don't realize is what's called lateral secretion. When you have hydrothermal fluids that are racing up these fissures that are brought on by faulting, they can actually shoot up through those structures, and it'll be on end at a 90-degree angle. So it's like to sit down, it would take about an hour or two to cover all the 12 different models of deposition. And then when you hear that, you'll understand, oh, okay, now I see why. And then that's the basic. And then from each one of those, you have subcategories.
Okay. now,
oh, it got quiet there. I didn't know if everybody hung up.
No, we're listening.
Listen.
We're listening.
Now, Vicky asked, how can someone come to your claim and dig in your mines with you? Don't you do something like that, Jeff?
Yeah.
For your patrons?
For my preems.
Mm-hmm.
My premium patrons, they come out on the 3-day gold mining tours. We have hard rocks and we have placers. And we try to mix it up and have fun with it. So we move around from Nevada to Arizona based on the time of year.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, our best state has been Arizona. It's provided the biggest gold. And,
nice.
Of course, it's mixed with a little bit of copper, so it's going to have more of a red hue to it because just the nature of its deposition. But, yeah, they can come out and work for 3 days, work them like a dog, and then they keep whatever they got.
There you go.
The hard rocks are in Nevada, and they're usually the hardest to do, no pun intended. And I tell people, you do a couple days of hard rock, you won't ever want to do it again.
There you go. There you go, Vicky. Hopefully that answered it. And Robert asked, is Slim related to any Tommy knockers?
No, his last name is, well, I think I mentioned this in a couple videos before, but I almost said Goffrey. Oh my gosh, what the heck am I thinking?
Yeah, what is it?
But no, he's not related to the Tommy knockers at all. He's his own man, and there's actually a story. We did a video about his creation. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I didn't see that one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I found his
that
grave
was fun.
site,
That was funny.
I dug him up, and I brought him back to our laboratory, and of course I had to use some special blood that we got from a host, and then I had to read the Egyptian Book of the Dead and then recite the passages, and then I had to send 240 volts through his body at the same time, and then it gave him life.
Oh no!
Yeah,
I got to see that video.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. That's a pretty funny video.
Man, if somebody knows what one that is, post it in the chat room. I got to see that one. That one.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you saw that one. We did that one for last Halloween.
Oh no, I didn't see that one. Dang it, man.
Yeah, but Slim's last name is Brayfogle. If you look that up, you'll see why. Charles Brayfogle.
Charles Brayfogle. That's
Slim's real name.
I'll be darned. Now, also, Jesse asked, have you done any more TV appearances lately?
Not recently. We had a couple offers.
Oh, okay.
But they wanted me to go to the Philippines, and I didn't want to do that.
Philippines?
Smart man.
Yeah.
Smart man.
Yeah, they got some huge deposits out there, and they wanted me to go out there and do some filming and explain the model of deposition and all that stuff. And I wasn't too keen on that. And before that, they wanted me to go to Russia.
Dang.
And they wanted me to do one out there on a show called Raising the Woolly Mammoth Part 2.
I don't remember Part 1.
Yeah, well, if you've seen that one, I'm sure you can figure out what role I was supposed to play.
And you took a big pass on that one, too, did you?
Yeah, because I don't want to, have to try to leave the country and then two big blonde-haired guys wearing military outfits tell me, I must break you.
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, have you been offered to go to Greenland yet?
Not yet, but I'm sure that's next after it melts all of its snow.
It's not green, Jeff. It's not green.
Yeah, I know. I had a feeling that was just a slip-up.
So what's coming up next for you guys? I know you probably got all kinds of things planned, don't you?
Yeah, but you know us. We hate to talk about what we're going to do before we do it.
Yeah,
I don't want to let the cat out of the bag too much.
This is
but we
true.
got a whole bunch of new stuff coming up for the 2020.
Mm-hmm.
We got something really special that I wish I could tell you about, but I can't.
Dang it.
But, well, it's just really cool.
Okay.
And if I let the idea out before it's completely finished, somebody's going to take that idea and run with it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, when the idea comes out, you'll definitely have to come back on and talk about it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, when we get everything squared away, I'll be more than happy to tell you all about it, and then I'll say, hey, remember when I told you about this really cool thing? And now this is it.
That's what we like. Yeah. Are you doing any of the gold shows this year, or you ain't got time?
We're trying to. It's just that we have so much going on right now on our plate with the tours and going around the country and trying to explain deposition models, and at the same time, I got to work in the drift mine.
Right.
So I got to stay on top of that, and that right there is a handful because it takes 2-3 days of constant work and timbering and digging and checking with detectors, and then people don't see the real side of it where you have to get fuel for the generators. You got to get supplies. You got to get all the timber. Make sure you got enough timber.
Right.
Because you don't have a Lowe's, right down the corner. So you got to make sure, and then everything has to be put on the back of a trailer and hauled out. So and then of course you have to film in between that too.
Right.
So
sure,
they don't see that. And if you
but you're showing the real stuff.
Yeah, and if you happen to find a scorpion, well, that kind of slows you down.
Right.
So, I don't know if you heard about that, but I got stung by one down in the drift mine.
No, I didn't hear you got stung.
Yeah, I took my gloves off for just a second, and I put my hand down on a bark scorpion, and it got me on the palm. And I'll tell you what, there ain't no pain in the world when one of those gets you in the palm of your hand, gets that nerve between the index finger and your middle finger.
Oh, mercy.
It was funny because I seen the video and I was like, Lisa's like something, and I look at her like, you know what I would have been saying? She goes, I don't even want to hear it.
Oh, man. And was there no...
But yeah, that slowed me down, but I still kept mining. I figure, if I can't breathe too well, then I'll come up. And, of course, I told the support crew about it, and my arm went numb and for about 2 days.
Dang.
And I had that accelerated heart rate. So it was kind of spooky because I didn't know if I was going to have a reaction. But,
sure,
the gold fever took over and I was fine.
And there was no scorpions harmed in the filming of that episode, I presume?
Yeah, that was really him. That was the one that got me, that little bastard.
He was dead. I'm here dead.
I tell you what, that hurt real bad.
You didn't help him across the road, did you?
Everybody asked me if I killed him. I never did. I was gonna dunk him in gold and make a necklace out of him.
You should seal him up with some epoxy.
That way I could ward off the rest of them. This is
should.
What's gonna happen to you if you bite me.
You should have caught him and sealed him in some epoxy or something and kept him. Yeah.
Oh, like they have at Death Valley.
I'm telling you, man.
I would have whacked him flat out. You stung me, you're dead.
I would have took a shovel to him. Yeah.
Oh, I tell you what, it was a really tense moment there. So
I bet that's your first time getting stung by one, Jeff, in all these years.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah, I've seen them down in the bottom of the haulage shaft, but I ain't never been stung by one.
Right.
So I usually take a little black light down there to check for them.
Right.
And so I'll scoop them up and, put them in the hoist buckets and take them up.
Mm-hmm.
And this one made its way all the way to the back of one of the drifts. I don't know how he got back there, and he let me know real quick, hey, I'm right here. And, oh, man, I tell you what, I just about jumped through 40 feet of rock. So, I tell you what, that pain, that was some serious pain.
Oh, Jesus. That's crazy.
So, we made a video on it. So, I was sitting there delusional, and from the toxins and the venom, and I thought, wouldn't it be a good time to make a video?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I might be dying, but at least I got the views, right?
That's right.
Isn't that how it works?
Yeah, that's what it's all about, I think. Them
Isn't
views.
that what a good YouTuber does?
Yeah. Yeah, but they would do it on purpose, though, Jeff. That's the only difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I got it on film. I tell you what, my hand was, it was like it was on fire, and it felt like the top side was asleep and tingly all the way up to the elbow.
Dang.
And I was trying to recover a nugget. And if you watch that video, I was so delusional from the toxin, the venom, I couldn't remember where the nugget was, and I kept throwing it back on the ground. So
I was laughing. Like I was
it was in the scoop, and then I thought, am I supposed to throw the dirt away in the scoop or in my hand? I think it's the scoop, so I'll throw that away.
And then he would scoop it up again and be in a lot more pain, scooping it up all over again.
Oh, man. Yeah, because I had to put the dirt back in my hand. And it was killing me. I just wanted to be done with it.
It was so funny because we watched the video. I'm looking at her, and she's my old lady. She's looking at me. She's like, "Didn't he just throw that like back twice?" I'm like, "I think he did. I swear to God, he just threw it back."
Yeah, I did. I did it 2 or 3 times. I kept throwing it, and I couldn't find it. It was frustrating me. I couldn't think straight. So I was like, "Where is that? I just had it." And every time I put dirt in my hand to do the 2-hand method, it would hurt like somebody driving needles through your hand.
Oh, my God. You can't make that stuff up, that's for sure.
No, you can't. And I was like, I was just about ready to just call it a day and say, let's go to town and see if I can get some anti-venom or something. Because I don't know what's going on with my brain.
That's some good stuff, apparently.
Yeah, it wasn't good that day, I tell you what. It took 3 days to get the feeling back.
Oh,
that video, I was feeling bad. I was like, "Oh, you got stung." You're like, "You're right in the palm." I'm like, "Oh, dude, that's like the worst place." You're sitting there going, "But I'm still going to make this video."
He's going watching like an alcoholic in slow motion. It was like a train wreck, I tell you. And I thought, I got to finish this video because we're not coming out here for another week, so I got to get something in the queue, but I don't know if I can finish it.
That's what I was
this nugget.
Oh, that's just good.
See, that's what I was figuring. I'm like, dude, he just got stung by a scorpion, and he's still making this video. I'm like,
going.
You know what? He's deep enough in this cave. He's like, I'm not coming out until I'm done.
Yeah, because there's no reason to come up and then go back down again, because I won't want to do it then.
So that's the worst thing that's ever happened to you down in there, huh, Jeff?
Yeah, that to this day, and hopefully that's the last worst thing that ever happens to me down there. Knock on wood.
Yeah, right.
Because I tell you what, at first I thought it was just like a little piece of wire from the cable from the slusher.
Right.
And because it stung a little, but it felt it wouldn't go away. The sting could persist.
Right.
Because I pulled my hand back and I didn't see anything in the palm, and I was like, why does it feel like there's something still in there? And I kept looking, and I didn't see nothing. And I'm like, son of a... this thing is starting to burn. What now? So I looked around on the ground, and I saw something moving out of the corner of my eye. I had to hurry and get my glasses on because I couldn't see nothing. And sure enough, there was that little booger right there trying to crawl down into a hole. Oh, man, I tell you what, I learned some new words that day.
I bet you did.
I'm glad I had the ability to edit, because I don't think you want to see that on film.
Oh, that would have been even funnier. That would have been even better, seeing you go off
Yeah,
like
it took every ounce of compassion to stop from killing that little booger.
You should have had the...
So I was sitting there, and while my hand is swelling and I'm losing consciousness, I thought, hey, why don't we just dip them in some 24-karat gold and make a necklace out of them? That'll show them.
Put them in a sucker like you go to Arizona.
Oh,
you
yeah.
see those suckers with scorpions in them.
You could have ate them.
Yeah.
You could have had
Somebody
his-
told me that. They said, clip that tail off and pop them in your mouth. I want to see that.
There you go.
Oh, gee.
Then you would have had his spirit in you. You know, and you.
Yeah, well, in my condition, I would have ate the tail and not the body.
Oh my gosh, that's great! I love it. That's just good stuff right there. You should have made a G version of that video and then released the other version. You know,
I was lucky to make the video I had. I tell you what, I was starting to get a little panicky, and the anxiety attacks were coming because of the venom. It gets your heart going real fast, and you have to keep yourself calm. And you don't know if you got to check your breathing, make sure it doesn't start to get hard to breathe.
Right. What kind of medicine?
And then the whole time you got the camera rolling.
Well, what kind of medicine? What do they give you for that, Jeff? If you get stung by one and you do have a reaction?
Well, if you have a reaction, you're supposed to go to the hospital and get anti-venom. But for the most part, they give you Benadryl, and some aspirin and tell you to call it a day.
That's what I figured.
I was sitting there thinking it is Benadryl, right?
Yeah, it's Benadryl. Yeah, I know, right? You got anything stronger? How about a shot of whiskey with that Benadryl?
Yep. Nope, you get some Benadryl.
Yeah, Benadryl. Just give me a smack on the butt and call it a day.
Might as well. So you learn.
It's the same thing.
You learn not to take that. You learn not to take that glove off, also, right?
Oh yeah, trust me. Every time I take it off, I put it back. First of all, I check, make sure nothing crawled in there.
Right.
And then I put it back on real quick.
Man.
I do that with my boots too every day.
Oh, I bet.
So.
Yeah, you're in that.
You got to.
You're in that territory.
Yeah, because they love to climb in those boots too.
Dang.
Well, you know what, Jeff? Do you have the same thing I do? Like if it's not scorpions, it's a spider, and it's one spider that can bite you.
Down there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's when we blow air in there through the ventilation system, it comes back up the haulage shaft, and it creates a nice little vent blow through there. I guess they like that, and they start setting up webs.
Really?
And and so there'll be times where I go to get in there, and there'll be a web right across the haulage shaft. And I'm not kidding you, I got a special stick that I use, and I go in there and I clean up the webs, and if I see them, then I kill them.
Right.
And then I start my day. And then we have this stuff that we got. It's a poison that we use in the shaft too. It's made by Bayer. It's a blue container, and we spray the heck out of it and let it sit, and then come back the next day. And most of them are dead. We get some roaches in there too. I don't know where the hell they're. Excuse my language. I don't know where the heck they're coming from. So we got all kinds of stuff. I kid you not. One day I found a little tiny gecko in the bottom of the shaft. It was the weirdest thing. I thought I was losing my mind because I saw this real long, skinny thing darting across the bottom of the haulage shaft, and I thought, what the heck is that? So I scooped it up, and it was like a little gecko salamander thing, and it was it had tan and white patches. It was the weirdest thing I ever saw.
Dang. Now what about snakes?
Yeah.
Get any snakes down
now,
there?
if I find a turtle down there, I know that's going to be BLM baiting me.
Yeah.
I know it.
They're waiting to see you take it out of the shaft and set it on.
Yeah. Hey, watch this, George. We'll throw a tortoise down there and watch him. Oh, we got you on film. Picking him up.
And they're going
to.
I'll tell you what. Jeff, you on the Mines Club. Have you ever found like javelina, mountain lions, anything like that down in the?
Oh, we've heard them and we've seen their tracks. Scared the heck out of it. Mountain lions too, especially up around Osceola. So that kind of spooked me a little bit. And one of the guys who lives up there says, "Oh yeah, they're up there by that cabin. I'm surprised you didn't see one." No, but I heard them and I saw some tracks in the water, in the mud.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, "Well, you might want to be careful." And so I kid you not, he comes out the next day, and he's got this huge fur of a mountain lion. He goes, "I got this one last month." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks for telling me before I head up to Jack's cabin." So he says, I kid you not, he's got a picture of this darn cat in a tree by his house, and he's in the neighboring tree taking a picture of it.
Oh, geez.
I'm like, dude, I thought I was tough, man. I'm not compared to you. Climb up a tree just to get a shot of a mountain lion. And so then he shot it, and he skinned it, and then now it's a jacket.
Oh my God. Gee. Oh, well,
wow.
Makes sense, kind of. Right?
Yeah, well, he's a tough old bird. He's been on that mountain for 40 years.
Oh, geez, yeah, so that's nothing for him. My God.
Yeah.
Man, the thing.
I know, but you got to think about it. When you're walking into a cave, you don't know what's in front of you and wants to go past you to get out.
Right.
So I always worry about that.
Well, most of your mines, Jeff, you don't really get much walking in them, are there?
No, we haven't. Luckily for us, knock on wood, we haven't seen much in the mines we explore.
Right.
Knock on wood on that.
Mm-hmm.
The most we've ever seen is rattlesnakes, which is typical. The first 20 feet is where they're going to hang out, where it's cool, and there's a food chain in there. Usually some field mice like to hang out in there, and some pack rats.
Right.
But we have never seen anything too big in there. We've seen footprints. Of course, a ton of bats in there. That's typical. But nothing really big, no human bodies, nothing like that. So I think we got pretty well. Yeah, you never know. I mean, what if we? Hey, look at this! I found a new mine. And yeah, it used to be the mine for the mobs to toss their unwanted people who couldn't pay their tab. So, I've been around Vegas long enough. I know how it works.
You're killing me.
Yeah, it's your area, Vegas.
I will say one thing, and you know what? There's a lot of people out there that's wanting to know this question, but when you walk into a mine, are you the kind of guy that looks at the floor because if the ceiling fell in, you're kind of leery, but if it's really clean, it's good? Is that kind of a theory or no?
Well, every time I get into a new mine that I haven't been in, the first thing I do is I check the floor and the corners. The corners are what I'm mostly interested in because that's where rattlers like to hang out, is in the corners. So that's the first place I'll check. And then I'll look for footprints of anything that's might be bigger than what I want to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll check that. And then as I'm getting in there, I'll use an air meter to see if I've got dead air as I'm going back in or not. And if everything looks good there and the rock isn't too heavily fractured or crushed, then I'll keep going. But the first 20 feet is what always bothers me. I've never had anything deeper than 100 feet in most of the mines. Oh, and barn owls. I hate barn owls because they scare the hell out of me. They do. You'll be going down an incline. They love inclines. So, and they have that big white face, too, with the little white lines for eyes.
Right.
It scared the heck out of you. You think it's a ghost or something fluffing at you. So I remember going down a lot of mines, especially around the Searchlight area. Most of those are all incline. And sure enough, you get about 40, 50 feet down, and you hear foo, 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 and you're like, what the heck is that? And you see a big white face coming at you like a ghost.
Oh,
so
man, that's crazy.
if you're not ready for that, it will spook you, especially when you're checking timber to make sure it's solid. So
that's cool, though,
now,
Jeff.
Hey, Jeff, have you ever went down to a mine that's got dead air that you like? Oh, I shouldn't go in here, but you went a little too far and had to get back out before it was too late.
Yeah, I did one of those in Good Springs, and the bad air was caused from a pack rat at the very end.
What?
And what happened was a lot of his waste material, especially his urine, had a lot of ammonia in it. And I got into the very back, and I hit a pocket that was so strong it darn near knocked me out. I literally had to run for the portal because I could not take a breath of anything because it wasn't oxygen anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you what, that really scared me. And after that, that was years ago. That's when we picked up 4-gas air meters after that.
Right.
Because before that, you're young and dumb and full of sauce, and so you think, I'm just going to go in there and do what I want to do. And then, nope, something like that happens, and it puts fear of God in you, and you start being smart about it.
Now, see, there used to be a rule of thumb I was taught, like, and you say you got a meter that tests the air and stuff. Do you test it down low? Because they say that, the dead air can be down low, and when you walk by, it makes it go up high, and then you get
carbon
trapped.
dioxide likes to sit low.
Right.
It's a heavy gas. And you're absolutely right. And also mines that have water in them too. You stir up the water and it comes out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't realize that. And then also when you have a lot of mold and moisture on timber, that can also affect the oxygen levels in there. But to be honest with you, no, I guess I should wear it down around my ankle or around my knee, but I usually carry it up on my right side on my the suit that I wear when I go down. And I just wait. I have it set pretty high, so if the concentrations go below, I think I got it set at 19. If it goes too far below that, it triggers right away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Pretty cool. Now, somebody asked...
I always like to get that out there because... I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm just saying. Go ahead.
Brian in the chat room asked, have you ever did any prospecting or mine exploring with Tom Massey?
No, I know Tom Massey but I haven't done anything personally with him. I would love to. I've always liked Tom, and every time he comes to Vegas, I like to hang out with him. And I really wish he'd do more videos with his daughter, but I haven't seen much with him. They're still out actively mining. They got claims everywhere, especially out there in Barstow. So, but to answer the question, no, I haven't done that, and I would really like to.
Okay, and Vicky again wants to know, have you ever seen any aliens?
I'm gonna tell you a story, but I'm gonna leave out some parts.
Okay.
So, because some people don't want me to tell the full story.
Gotcha.
But we something happened in Arizona, and something did show up that is unbelievable, and I'm glad I didn't get the finger probe that day because it left me alone, but it did come by just to check us out. Now, what was it? I don't know. Was it one of ours or was it one of theirs? I don't know. But it was shaped like a triangle, and it had the 3 lights on each corner.
What?
So I don't know if it's... And it had a red light in the very middle. 3 white lights on each tip of the triangle and a red light in the middle. And it didn't just appear. It came down like it was coming from up. Came down really fast, moved from left to right, and then went back up really fast. And I tell you what, yeah, that was the one day I needed a pair of diapers. So I ain't kidding you, because you think you're all by yourself and you're calm and collected, and you see something like that, all bets are off the table because anything at that point can happen.
Right.
And I'm like, all right, so let me check my watch, make sure I'm not missing any time, and make sure I don't have any thing under the skin, and no probing. I'm not into that probing stuff. So I think I'm good. I don't think they replaced me. I think it's still me. So I don't think I'm a clone. So, but they spooked the heck out of me, and that's the closest I ever got, and that's the closest I ever want to get.
And you seen that out in the desert?
Yep, right outside of Oatman.
Oh, really? Now, Jaron said he's seen the same one in Utah, and Vicky said those triangles have been seen a lot lately. So, maybe.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's ours or theirs, because nobody actually stopped and gave me their business card, so I have no idea. But I do know it does spook the heck out of you because, like I said, all bets are off when you see one, because then you think, okay, what's going to happen now? Are you immune to a 44 caliber? Let's find out.
You know what? I was just thinking because here in Phoenix, there's been like a couple people they're trying to do something funny, and they point that laser, like a laser pinpointer at the cop helicopter, and they get arrested. Can you imagine doing that? It's like, oh yeah, let's just point that laser up there. You'll find out.
I don't want to find out. Like I said, all bets are off because everything changes at that point. Because you're like, okay, what are your intentions? Because I'm just out looking for gold, and I can show you how to find it if that's what you guys want. But that's as far as our deal goes.
Yeah, they may have heard.
Come on,
of
Jeff. You're brave enough to pick up a turtle. You can shine a light.
Not at them. I don't know who's in. I don't know who's in the driver's seat. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. You didn't get a picture of it, Jeff?
Trust me, everybody says that. How come you didn't get a picture? When these things happen, you freeze and you lock up with fear because you don't know what's going to happen next.
Right.
And if you've seen any kind of shows or read anything in books or magazines, at that point anything can happen. I remember that story in Arizona that happened to the who was that one guy that they made a movie about?
Oh.
It was the what was his name? He was a logger. He was with his buddies in a truck.
Yeah.
And he decided.
I can't think of the guy's name.
Oh,
I know the
what
movie.
you're talking about.
Are you talking about Fire in the Sky?
Yeah, Fire in the Sky.
There you
he
go.
got curious, and you see what happened to him. He went running over there to see what it was all about. And then, of course, his life was destroyed from it.
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen.
I don't know, but still, you think he would have took a... Did it?
That was the Travis Walton story.
Okay, thank you. Couldn't think of the guy's name. I knew the movie.
Yeah.
But not the guy's name. But so
Hey,
did
if you have it happen again, just get it on video, Jeff, all right?
Yeah, well, I can see it. Hey, guys, hold up a second. I got to get this viewfinder working here. Hold on. Okay. Hey, can I get you guys to say so? Come on, let's go. Hey, wouldn't that be cool?
Oh, come on. You kept filming when you got stung by a scorpion. You could at least film a UFO if it shows up again.
Yeah, well.
Right?
Like I said, it happened pretty quick, and they were gone pretty quick, and I
Really?
was pretty stunned, and I didn't know what was going to happen next.
Oh, that's pretty cool,
So-
though. You could
I
scratch...
mean, with a scorpion, at least I'm in pain, and
Yeah.
I see the little booger, and all right, I put one and one together, and I kind of know I'm either going to die or not, one of the two.
Yeah.
So,
So you could...
with this thing, I don't know if I'm going to wake up 6 months later and be in some kind of weird situation I don't want to be.
Right. But you could scratch them both off your bucket list. No.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah, but for me, I thought it was a great video because, like I said, you're like, oh, I got stung by a scorpion, and all of a sudden you're tossing, you're like the target, you're actually tossing out, and I'm like, wait, you just did the target out. You're like, I mean, dude, this is a good video. Okay, it's real.
Oh yeah,
I like the real stuff.
It's real, yeah. That's what's cool, the realism. Now,
it's real. It's as real as it got.
in the Spreaker chat room, Jeff, Golden Pay Dirt Reviews says, what you meant by placer placebo.
Placer placebo.
Yeah, that's what he says. I wanted to find out what he meant by that.
Now, there's a phrase called paleoplacer, but not placer placebo.
That's what it's PLACER PLACBO. Placer placebo is what I'm getting.
Placer placebo.
Yeah.
Is that like the nugget challenge? You eat something and you feel better?
Maybe.
You eat a nugget and it comes out and you feel better?
Maybe. Maybe it is. I'm not sure. Not sure. It's possible. I just read them.
All right. Well, there's paleoplacers, which are the ancient placers of the tertiary channels.
So maybe that's it.
Could be.
Okay. Now Carl asked. He's like, any tips on submicron placer separation?
Oh, you know how many times I get asked this question?
Nope. How many?
We're like 500 minus gold. I'm like, holy cow. Well,
it's hard, isn't it? It's hard.
It's really hard if you're using gravitational separation. If you're using chemicals, it's a little easier, but then it gets really complex because I could go into hours about how you treat specific ores or how you treat placers that have fine micron gold in it, using collector metals like litharge to collect them up in a crucible, or if you're going to use a scorifier for scorification. You can do it that way, but you're starting to get into chemicals that, and if you don't know what you're doing, it just makes a big mess. So I always say if you can't trap it using gravitational methods, then I wouldn't even waste my time on it personally, unless you've just got mountains of it.
Right.
And if that's the case, it shouldn't be hard to use something like a table, shaker table, or Doc's multi-sluice to clean up sluice.
Yeah,
Jeff, are you like me? Just, you know what? Chemicals are like the really last thing you'd ever do.
Yeah, people always ask me about mercury, and I say, yeah, it does work, but it's really, there's a lot of stuff people don't talk about, as far as, okay, what happens when your mercury gets sick? Because mercury does get sick, and people don't realize that. It loses its ability to pick up gold, so you have to clean it or have to recharge it.
Mm-hmm.
And we were going to make videos on that, but I thought I don't want people working with mercury because if you spill it, it is a pain to try to clean up because it breaks into a million little BBs and they fly everywhere.
Right.
And you'll never get them all up, never. And of course, then if you're working with a retort, you have to worry about fumes escaping out of the retort and killing you. And then if you don't get rid of your mercury that way, you have to use 70% nitric acid mixed with equal parts of water, and then heat it to a boil, and then literally boil your with nitric acid, get rid of your mercury that way. And then, like I said, it's something you just don't casually tell someone, oh, you just do this, and that's all you do.
Right.
It's like, no, this is like a 1 to 2 day class that I would have to teach to make sure you don't kill yourself.
Wow.
Yeah, but you know what's funny? Because people think that's how it is, and I'm like, no, it don't work like that.
Nope.
No. All right,
No.
another question from the chat room. Larry, this is from your buddy Larry Englehart. He said, do you think you will ever do another project with Kevin Hoagland like when you were on Gold Trails with him?
Oh, yeah, I remember that. We were up at Osceola when we did that. I don't know. I haven't heard from him in a long time. Last time was at the Gold Show. He invited us out to give a seminar.
Mm-hmm.
So we did a seminar out there at the Cashman Field. And I haven't heard from him since. I thought he retired. He said something about buying a house in Arizona and retiring. So I figured that was the end of that.
Maybe. And
but if he ever wanted to, yeah, I'm open.
There you go. And also, Jaron asked if you ever seen a worker at Walmart.
No, but I've seen a whole bunch of crazy people wearing trash bags for clothes. How's that? That's enough to scare the tar right out of you.
I guess that counts. and
I never seen anything like that.
And on the placer placebo question, it was when you was talking about the makeup of your mind. Does that help?
Okay. Placebo, that word doesn't fit.
I understand. I'll just read them.
So, all right, well, it don't placer placebo. I don't know. I'll take two and call me in the morning.
Pretty much.
He said maybe it's backwards.
Maybe it's backwards. Placebo placer?
Nah, that don't fit either. No, all the placer we're getting out of there is coming out of the caliche bands, right above the clay zones.
Mm.
So I'm surprised nobody's asked about the cave system down there.
About the what?
We have a cave system down in our mine that we tapped into. We blasted into it. We made a ton of videos on it.
Really? Well, tell us a little about it.
Yeah, little bitty wormholes.
Little bitty.
Yeah, that's where the worm people live. So we were advancing one of the drifts before we put the slusher in. We drilled and loaded around and popped it, and we noticed that there was a cavity there. We cleaned it out, and there was a cave about the size, height of your head. You can barely fit in there, and we did about 5 or 6 videos on it.
Okay.
And the one goes to the left and goes up, and the other one goes to the right and goes down. And we're trying to go down because we're hoping it connects to a larger series of drainage systems. And I'm hoping that eventually somehow it ties in with the Mojave River, which ties in with cocoa leaf. So we've been trying to work our way into this thing, but there's a pinch point, and I don't want to get stuck down there because you'll never get my body out. Right. So we've been trying to slowly jackhammer the pinch point open without dropping it on us.
Jeez, dude.
And you can hear a little bit of water in the background. And then when I first tapped into it, I heard noises, but I think maybe that was the scorpions messing with me.
Uh-huh.
And so I did, like I said, about 4 or 5 videos on that. And right now we're trying to drill and pop down below it so we can get through that pinch point.
Oh, wow.
And try to explore it. We ran remote control cars in there.
Okay.
With little GoPros, and we put GoPros on a long stick and ran it back in there, and it keeps going.
Oh, I'll be darned. That's cool.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
It's spooky, though, because, trust me, I tried to squeeze in there. I got 3/4 of the way in, and that was it for me.
Go buy
they
a
had
monkey.
to pull me out.
Go get you a little monkey and send down there.
Yeah, that's what they call me. Yeah, surprise!
Interesting. That's a cool find. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you knew about that.
Nope. No, there's a lot I don't know
Yep.
about.
We were there's a dark colored sand that's in the bottom of it, and we showed that on film. It's kind of got a slight reddish hue to it, and there's fossilized seashells in it, and we showed that too. And I found very little placer gold in it, so I kind of blew it off a little bit because I'm chasing the monster nuggets. That's what I want.
Right.
So everybody's like, when are you going to go into the cave system? What are you, a big sissy? I'm like, come on. I just got stung by a scorpion and I didn't stop. Does that sound like a big sissy to you?
They like to give you grief, don't they?
Huh?
I said they like to give you grief, don't they? About
no, they just want entertainment at my expense.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. Because you're definitely entertaining.
It sounds legit.
Yeah,
that's come on, when are you going to make another video? It's been at least 6 hours. How long does it take?
You should just run 24 hours a day.
Hey, Jeff, I got a question. Like, what?
Go ahead, Scott. What's the question?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
No.
I can hear you.
Yeah. Look, when you go down, when you're like underground, do you test like the same way we do for placer mining, or is it a different kind of testing that you do to follow what you're looking for and what you want to dig out?
In the drift mine?
Like, in any mine. Like when you go underground, do you test like we do for placer? You take some out and smash it up and pan it, or do you just know where it's
Well, for the drift mine is a placer mine. It's technically classified as a placer mine, even though we're underground, because we're chasing old channels of placer gold. And of course, that's the same thing that you do. You take samples and you screen them and you pan them, and you find out if you're on the right track. Now, when you're in a hard rock mine, the gold you're chasing visible free mill. I always tell people not to mess with sulfides, tellurides, or chemically locked up gold. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a sample and you're going to crush it to about anywhere from 20 to 50 mesh. You're going to put it in a pan with some jet dry to break the surface tension, and you're going to pan that out and see if you got any free mill. You have to inspect with a jeweler's loupe because it's going to be so fine, and then that'll tell you if the samples that you're looking for has got gold in it. And that's the oldest technique in the book for knowing if lode gold has got gold, free mill gold.
So you don't go to 100 mesh?
Nah, usually 50 mesh is good enough for me. Some people like 100 mesh, but 50. If it looks like it's good, then we'll take it to the grinders, and maybe we'll take it down to 100. But on the table, 50 does the job.
Huh.
Hey, Jeff, we've got someone that was wanting to know more about this fine slim in your videos.
Oh, yeah, the Fine Slim Challenge.
Yeah.
Well, what they want to know, I'll tell them anything they want to know, and things they don't want to know.
What is it? How do you do that? How do you?
Oh, it's simple. Well, we had a lot of people who said, Jeff, we're a premium patron and we love what you do, but every month you give away gold nuggets from our mine, the Slim Pick #1. But some people don't. They get impatient. They don't want to wait for their name to come out of that drum. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool if we offered something different for the people who want to try to test their wits and see if they can find, something that will get them a chunk of gold out of the mine?
Heck yeah.
So we came up with the Fine Slim Challenge. So every month we put out 3 videos just for premium patrons only. Nobody else sees them. And somewhere in that video, Slim is hiding. All you have to do is find him visually, tell me where he's at, and if you're signed up as a Fine Slim patron, then boom, you get a target bag at the end of the month. It's that simple.
Wow.
Yeah,
now,
you can play every month. So if you can find him every month, you get a target bag every month.
You're not tricking people. You're not tricking people by putting cow bones behind you or something like that, right?
Well, I'm not going to make it easy. They're going to have to work for that gold. I mean, some guys are like, well, I couldn't find. Well, did you play it frame by frame? Because that's the only way you're going to find them.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's a challenge, but at least it's another way, and that's how you do it. But you have to be signed up to do it, because I've seen a lot of guys. Oh, I found him. Yeah, but are you signed up? No. Well, then you don't get nothing.
All right. Now, Jeff, you got
you see what happens when you put a gold digger in charge of drawing a map or something like that.
Now, Jeff, before you leave, you got to tell everybody how they can become one of your premium patrons, and that way they can get in on all this stuff. Okay?
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff. I mean, I don't know if you know of all the stuff that goes on, but we've got a lot of stuff. I don't know if you're aware of it, but we're also giving away personally signed Garrett Super Sleuth gold panning kits. And a target bag to go with it, so you have something to use that gold pan with.
Nice.
So we figured we would up the ante and start throwing those in at the end of the month too.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And then of course not to mention the metal detectors, your choice of VLF or PI from the list. I don't want people to run out and think they're going to get a 7,000.
Right.
So yeah, I know. Hey, when's my 7,000 coming? Second Tuesday of next month.
That's right.
So, and so we got the T-shirts. Of course, you know that.
Mm-hmm.
That say, yeah, you're going to get wet on it. And of course, we got the book. We're going to be releasing the book again at the end of the month.
Nice. That's cool. So
cool.
So, I think,
Okay.
that's what we got going on. Oh, and anytime we find anything large that's obvious down in the mine, we give that away separately.
Right.
So if we happen to find a target and we blast it out, and then we show it on film, then we give that one away separately by itself. So that's an addition to anything else that we give on top of already. So there's always a neat thing. If we find something, then it's like, oh, great, now it's not just 10 bags, or it's not just this. He's going to be giving away this as well on top of it. So
that's cool.
You know what?
For $10, you can't beat it.
Right.
You know what? Jeff, back in the day, it used to be AskJeffWilliams.com, and you know what? What is your channel for our listeners so they can find you? What is your main channel right now?
Yeah, all you got to do is Google Ask Jeff Williams, and I'm everywhere. I'll pop up all over on Google.
Oh yeah,
and you'll see where it says the website, and which we're redesigning the web. I've had so much grief over that website. It's like 100 years old, and so we had a contractor come in and redesign it, and it's still being put together. And so when you look at the website, it's not complete. So don't get mad at me yet.
Right.
And then you got the Patreon site. That's when you Google Ask Jeff Williams, you'll see that too. And then of course the YouTube channel will come up when you Google that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's it.
That's cool.
And videos will pop up all over the place.
Yeah, for all our listeners out there, I'm just telling you, this guy, Jeff Williams, he's really, really knowledgeable. I mean, we do videos and stuff like that. We all, we do our things, but he's got it. And I like watching his videos because, Jeff, you are really knowledgeable. You've helped me out a lot through the years.
I appreciate that.
No, especially in geology. I mean, like, oh man, I didn't even think about that. I'm like,
I tell you.
Video.
It's almost that he's like a geologist, isn't it?
Kind of, sort of.
I like guys like you that.
Yeah, that I guess that degree finally came in handy.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Well, not only.
I know, but I mean, it's really cool because.
What, Dennis?
I was gonna say, not only is he a geologist, he's also an the ASC certified mechanic.
That's right.
Correct?
Oh yeah, a certified master.
That's right. Has got any car
Certified
questions?
master.
Yeah,
no, I mean,
I've got all ASC.
I find it.
Dang.
Huh?
I just find it great because there's certain things that we look for. Like he's right. He's in the same neighborhood I am, and the rocks and stuff like that. If you don't know it, you're never going to know it, but until you learn.
That's right.
And that's why I started making videos, because back when I started, there was nobody really teaching people how to do what we do. And then, he come out, Jeff come out and just made it great.
Well, I appreciate that.
Like everything you want to learn, it's right there.
Yep, this is true.
I think it's awesome. It's still awesome.
It is. It definitely is. And Jeff, we can't thank you enough for being here again, as always, buddy. I mean, we always enjoy when you're on the show, and man, if somebody finds
I always
that,
love being on the show, and I always have fun, and I'm glad people call in, and I'm hoping that I had enough time to talk to everybody. I feel bad when people say, I tried to call in, but I couldn't get it through. And I'm like, well,
I think you did fine, And like I said, man, if somebody finds that treasure here soon, give us a call during one of the shows. Let us know.
Yeah.
Man,
that would be cool.
Totally.
Oh yeah, I definitely will. Like I said, I'm checking email every day. Actually, like every 2 hours I check. And then if pictures come in, because I tell them to send pictures, I put them up on the web for premium patrons so they can see the progress that these people are making out there.
That's awesome, man. I wish we was out there so we can get in on that. It sounds like a great time, that's for sure. And, Jeff, come back anytime. You know that, brother. We appreciate it. And we just want to thank you again for being here, as always.
Oh, you betcha. Hey, Bud, you know what I'm going to say then, right?
Yes, sir.
You better. So come on. Let's go.
Have a good night, Jeff.
All right, you too.
Take care, brother.
Thank you, Jeff.
Adios.
Bye, buddy.
Good night, bro.
Awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, he's you know what he's kind of like he's electrifying. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I mean it's never a dull moment when Jeff's on. That's for sure. She carries the show. I didn't hear nothing from. She had Kathleen. I think they were just sitting back listening, and Rich. I think Rich was sitting back listening. I could have did the same thing.
I've come in a couple times.
Yeah, I mean, I could have did the same.
Beginning, I was talking a lot.
Yeah,
I thought I would shut up to let other people talk.
Oh, that's me. I could have just sit back and listened. It's just like, just keep talking.
I'm sorry, it's a talk show. You got to talk.
Oh, it was good. Great show, guys. Thank you. It was awesome. And thanks again to Jeff.
Like I said,
What?
I was gonna say I had questions.
Your internet, Scott. You're just breaking up bad tonight. We'd hear you sometimes we could hear you real good, and then it was like we couldn't hear you every other word.
What the hell?
I don't know, dude. You need to call your internet company and give them a talking to.
Order Jim.
I'm like, dude, I'm 8 foot away from the booster.
Are you doing well? Here's my first question. Are you on Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
That's the problem. Plug in. You need to be directly plugged in. You can't do this Wi-Fi. That's the worst thing in the world. No wonder you're having problems. Run a cord, dude, and plug into your router and plug into your computer. You don't want Wi-Fi because that's the problem. It'll break up on you all the time. Try to do that by Wednesday. Get a cord, brother, and just do that.
Okay.
And it'll stop that problem. Easy peasy. We just fixed it.
You guys.
It is. That's all you got to do to fix it. Run a cord. Heck, Shad will even tell you. Ask the IT guy. He'll tell you. Run a cord. Criminally.
The IT guy.
Shad, do you want to shout out metal prices real quick?
All right, gold is down $2 at $1,491. Silver's down 2 cents at $17.54.
Okay.
Platinum is up $3 at $893.
Okay.
Palladium is down $6 at $1,741.
Okay.
And rhodium has stayed flat at $5,530.
Shad sounds so excited.
Hey, Shad, what was gold again?
Your gold prices was $1,491. Down.
It's down, Scott.
$2.
Down. It's below 15 now. You got it, Scott?
Yeah.
Because you're going out
I
in the
don't
gold
like it.
fields. We know. We know. All right. Well,
I just wanted it to stay around the 15.
Well, everybody does.
It's still there.
It's close. As long as it don't drop no more, you'll be fine. Don't worry.
You guys got to remember, this is what I do for a livelihood.
No worries. No worries. Ain't nothing to worry about. Don't sweat the small stuff. You was doing it when it was 800 an ounce, so you're doubling.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, so don't worry about it. It's like all good. Nothing to fear.
I know.
All
Just.
Right. Well, don't forget, tune in Tuesday night Hangouts, Ed, Jess, and Dan over to our YouTube channel at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget to join us Wednesday for West Coast Wednesdays at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Maybe Scott will have a wire for his computer then, and he won't be
Hey, I'll tell you what,
up.
all you guys out there You know what? This is no doubt. All you guys out there listening right now, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, everything like that. You know what? Do send me something on Gold Prospector Space, or what do you want to hear about? I want to know what you want to hear about. Let's find out.
Do a Facebook poll, Scott. Okay.
I got that. Yeah,
do that. Do a Facebook poll. And see what they want. Simple, easy peasy.
Well, there's a lot of questions that we've answered like a ton of times, but there's always new and up and comers that don't know, and we always think about it. I've been at it 20 years, so somebody says something about sluice boxing, I'm like, oh my god. But then you got to think back. You know what? These guys might be starting out just like you did. So it's just what I want to hear about.
Not a problem. So hopefully they will. Right? That's all you could do.
Maybe.
All right. We want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Thanks again, Jeff Williams. And everybody have a great night, great week. Until Wednesday, we're out of here.
Night, everybody.
Good night, Gold Diggers.
You guys are slipping tonight.
Good night, Gold Diggers.
At 7:30 for another great show. For updates and more info, please go to www.prospectorsradio.com.